Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. Today is the 19th of February. It is Thursday morning, and we are here with the Spirit What Sees All. I'm going to be coughing on and off and about to do so right now. Excuse me, everyone. So, so sorry about that. All right. So, this is our first show in the new year. Have you been wondering where I've been? Did you think I would never come back? Did you think I'd disappeared into the ether, never to be seen again? Oh, fiddlesticks, that thing again. Let's see. You can see me, right, Chris? But
Yes.
I can't see you. They took me out again. Oh, crikey. They keep doing that to me with this thing. I have to do something with it. If only. There we go. Aha! Aha! Here I am again. Excuse me. So that may happen from time to time, but just bear with me. So before we go any further, we've established it's the 19th of February. I think we've established it's our first show of the new year. So before we go any further, let's say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is, as always, standing to my right side. And let's say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary.
Where are you?
A few feet away in the other room.
Know where she is. I know where she is. I've locked her in the bedroom. That's what I've done. I've locked her in the bedroom. Or, as my grandson used to say when he was a little boy, can we go to the bread room, Mosey? Let's go to the bread room and play. We would go to the bread room and we would play. All right. Chris, is there anybody there?
Yes, a lot of people are logging on. They came on real fast this morning. It's great to see everybody. Some of the let's call them old timers and some new names I've not seen before.
Well, good. I'm really pleased. All right. So, excuse me. We're going to give everyone a little bit of time to, sorry, to log on. And so I'm going to, while we're waiting for everyone to log on, I'm going to fill you in a little bit about what I've been doing over the last few weeks. So I went to New York for Christmas, and I got there just a few days before. And I was there for about 2 days, and then my grandson got really sick. He was sick through the night, and he was not great the next morning. Got very heavy cold, and then of course we had to test him for COVID. And yes, sure enough, he was diagnosed positive for COVID. And then, so you know how the skittles go down as you throw the ball and then the skittles go down. Well, the skittles went down, and then here I am, and I'm still coughing, unfortunately. But I have to tell you that I was in New York for at least 3 or 4 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, and I went I went out twice in those 4 weeks. The first time I went out was with my friend Karen, who'd come from Canada to spend the New Year with us. And we decided we'd go for a little walk, but I only managed half an hour, and I had to come back because I couldn't do anything more than that. And then about a week later, we went to see Disney on Ice, and Reese was so excited. We had to go on the train. I was determined to go because I'd missed every other thing that we'd planned through Christmas, and we'd planned to go to see a couple of different shows, Christmas shows, and unfortunately, I had to give my ticket away to other people, which was just it was a bit disappointing, but we lived with it. We got through it. We managed it, and we went to the ice show. And it was so much fun on the ice show, except we had to get a train there. We got a train back. Then the train got delayed. Then the train decided it wasn't going to stop at the station that we wanted it to stop at, even though it was scheduled. And on and you know how those things go. So eventually, we met an angel. Here we are. We had to get off the train, a stop before we were supposed to. Samantha was thinking maybe we should get an Uber or we should get a taxi or some such. And as we're standing there, there's a lady who'd also had to have the same thing happen to her, and she was standing there, and she had already ordered her car. And I went up to her and I said, this is we're trying to get to the ice rink, and she said, well, I'm going that way. And I said, okay, then. She said, why don't you all pile in with me? And that's what we did. And this little angel, she allowed her Uber to take us right to the spot that we needed to be. When it's freezing cold and the wind's blowing and you're not 100% sick, although let me be clear, I was not contagious in any way at that point. So, when you just think, you're despairing and you're cold and oh, goodness me, and an angel turns up. I mean, isn't that amazing? An angel just turns up out of the blue. And that was wonderful for us. And we had a fabulous time. We had a nice dinner beforehand. Then we had a really nice time at the ice show. And by the time we got back home, it was 11 o'clock at night. And I didn't go out again until I got on a plane to come back home. So, anyway, I had a wonderful Christmas. I'm hoping that some of you are going to talk to me about your Christmases and if anything special happened to you at Christmas. We did something very different this Christmas. First of all, I did not. I know, you're going to be shocked when I tell you, I did not make my Christmas cake. Because during the hurricane, all of my freezer stuff went and all of my ingredients for my Christmas cake just disappeared on me in the freezer. And what can I tell you? That was the end of my Christmas cake. But instead of, what did we have for dessert? Oh, I know. I made a fabulous, delicious, and of course it wouldn't be Christmas without one, a fabulous and delicious trifle, an old Victorian recipe that I have. For all of you listening who are saying, oh, I love trifle, no jelly and no fruit in my trifle, just so you know. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? For those of you who know about trifle, jelly and fruit are the main ingredients. What happened there then? If you want my recipe for my Victorian trifle, no jelly, no fruit, you'll love it though. It's really delicious. Just write to me. Or you can even, you know what, you could even buy my cookbook. You didn't even know, did you? Some of you didn't even know I wrote a cookbook. Anyway, so we had duck breasts cooked to perfection by me. You know that, right? And a delicious orange sauce, which that recipe was given to me by a Moroccan chef years and years ago. I've tweaked it a little bit because that's what I do with recipes. I tweak them a little bit, but it's delicious. And I also made, what else did I make? I made a cauliflower puree. To die for, to die for. Yes. So we had, instead of the usual turkey or the usual that stuff that people go through, we had a very simple and easy because, none of us were well enough to really go crazy and go to town. And we had a really relatively easy Christmas, but it was really good and it was really delicious, delicious, delicious. And then in the new year, my friend Karen from Canada came to stay with us. We had a blast. We really did. We had a fabulous, fabulous time. Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Christ. And I know many people don't do that but still celebrating Christmas. It's nice to celebrate Christmas. It's fine celebrating Christmas. And whether you're celebrating the birth of Christ, whether you're just celebrating being a family together, whether you're just giving your kids an amazing, amazing time, Christmas, excuse me, Christmas is a magical, magical time. So, and we did have a magical, magical time. So now I think everybody should be signed on, signed up, and all the rest of it. So I'm handing over to Chris, giving myself a little break, a little breather. So, Chris, you told me, I'm not going to ask you, is there anybody there? Because you told me that there was, but who is there?
All right, I'm going to start giving you some messages, and we know the office has been literally inundated with messages from people checking in on you because they didn't know you were going to be off for the whole month. But Bart,
Website, website. You can go to my website, everybody. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Barb says, "Holy smokes, ladies in Gray Eagle, you've been so missed." Cheryl
Oh,
saying, "Good morning. It's nice to see you."
thank you. Do you know, I've missed you all too. And we were excited this morning because there was a moment there where we thought we might not be able to do the show. There was a moment there, we've had internet issues and all sorts of things. There was a moment there where we thought, will we be able to do it? But we so wanted to do it. I so wanted to do it. I so wanted to do this show and wanted to just show you all that here I am. And yes, maybe I'm coughing a little, but I am alive and kicking. And other than the thing, I'm very, very well. And I'm so pleased to be able to connect with all of you again because I have missed you.
Rhonda says, "Good morning to you both. I have missed you." Sandra is saying, "We were worried about you. Happy New Year."
Oh, thank you.
Trying to see if there are any Mark's on saying hello from Tulsa. Eric's on. Dean's on.
Oh my goodness.
Maggie, Anna, Tracy, Lorraine, Rhonda, Sandra, Barb.
Okay. Okay.
We could go on and on, Rosemary, but everybody's basically saying they've missed you during the time you were off, and they're so happy that you're back on today.
Well, now when we're back regularly, we'll be doing our story time on Saturday morning as usual. Will things be back to normal? No. Who wants to be normal anyway? I don't want to be normal. I am so not normal. And I believe that all of you guys watching, you're not normal either. We are extraordinary, aren't we? We are. Who wants to be normal? Anyway, I'm excited to be here. So, we're ready for questions. I'm trying to think. I know I have other things to tell you all, and I'm trying to
The
think.
roof, perhaps.
Yeah, well, no, no, no. Although there's an exciting piece of news about my repairs, which yes, well, my bathroom ceiling fell in. What else happened? I made bread the other day, delicious bread. I don't know if Chris thought it was delicious, but I thought it was delicious. I had my friends Andrea and Jeff over. Jeff, if you're listening, I don't know if you're tuning in or not. Uh, I made a beef stew and I made bread and potatoes, and then Andrea brought a key lime pie. Now, here's the thing about this key lime pie. I had chocolate torte in my freezer, so I brought that out for dessert. Um, and then I got an email from Andrea. I hope Jeff's listening to this because he'll like this, right? So I got an email from Andrea, and she'd visited a few days ago. She and Jeff had visited a few days ago, and she said, "Is there anything I can bring for dinner?" And I sort of half talked about the key lime pie that she makes. She makes a great key lime pie. And so she said, I can make you one. I said, oh, no, let's not. Because we were originally going to have Chinese. Nobody was going to be cooking anything. We were going to do the easy route. Then I decided beef stew is easy. You just stick it in and leave it to cook. And so she brought along with her key lime pie. So we put it in the freezer. And then what I did yesterday, I didn't bring it out because I brought the chocolate torte out. Are you following any of this, everybody? It's, we are back. It's the first show. I'm allowed to see how much I've missed you all. I've got so much to talk about here. And so she brought the key lime pie. As I say, I put it in the freezer. Then the day before yesterday, I cut it up into pieces, into slices, wrapped it, put it back in the freezer. So I can now take out a piece of pie whenever I feel inclined. So yesterday, I got an email from Andrew. Why don't you come over for dinner on Sunday? And blah, blah, blah. And the other friends are going to be there. And I'd written back, that's great. That sounds great. Can I bring anything? Now, here is the thing, right? This is what's called Indian giving. You give something and then you just want to take it away. Are you listening, Jeff? If you're not listening, I'm sure you'll listen later on to this. So she said, if you'd like to bring maybe a couple of slices of that key lime pie back with you. I'm thinking, I'm not sharing my key lime pie with anybody. So now I'm going to have to think of another dessert because I'm not sharing my key lime pie. It's staying in my freezer. Do you blame me? You're all thinking, oh, I never thought that Rosemary could be so mean and selfish as to hold on and to hoard that key lime pie, but I don't get it very often. So anyway, there we are. Right. Um, all right, I'm done. Let's go and see if anybody wants to ask any questions or to tell me something about your Christmas. Why don't? Before I forget, and I know it is a little late, I do want to wish all of you a very, very happy and a very wonderful new year. Okay, Chris.
The first comment and question is from Mark. I'm so happy to see and hear you both. I have had some weird phenomenon that continues to happen to me. Every time I step outside, regardless of what weather is happening, sunny, cloudy, I am splashed with or sprinkled with water on my face
Oh,
every time. Can you or Gray Eagle give me any information? I'm clueless.
well, it could be a leak. Could be as simple as a leak. It could be as simple as a bird in the tree. You disturb it every time you open your door, and it's wet in that tree. It could be as simple as that. It could be somebody just trying to get your attention, Mark. It could be someone from the spirit world trying to get your attention. You see how I always go to the, I'm a feet on the ground kind of a person. I like to look for the obvious rather than the maybe it's something spooky going on. I think that it's a good thing to do to look for the obvious what's going on. Is there a leak there? Maybe my door rattles something or shakes something that splashes me with water. And if once you've gone through the obvious and the down to earth stuff, well, if you do that, then maybe it is someone in the spirit world sort of flicking water at you, maybe having some fun with you, just letting you know that they're around. Who knows? Chris, keep going.
Maggie had mentioned when you were talking about Disney on Ice that her grandson loved Disney on Ice.
My grandson, he did love it, and we had front row seats because I'd booked these tickets weeks and weeks and weeks before. Um, and he was so excited, and it was the atmosphere and all of the people sitting in the stalls going high up there. It's a fun thing to do, and it's a fun thing. And so I I sat in my chair next to him, and he just turned to me and he put his arms around me. He said, "Mosey, thank you," and he was so excited. However, I do have to say that it was a little bit disappointing. Now, if you had a girl, a daughter, or a granddaughter, they would have been thrilled to bits because it was all about princesses, princesses in the tower. It was all about Beauty and the Beast, my favourite, actually. But they gave you little snippets of things. And of course, Beauty was the main character in this scenario. Um, it was a bit girly, I have to say. And, I do smile to myself because whenever you go into a clothes store, you know this, whenever you go into a children's store, if you've got boys, you'll know this immediately. If you've got girls, you might not notice because, hey, you're having a good time. At least three-quarters of the store are filled with girly dresses and shoes and pretty dresses and t-shirts for girls and everything's for girls. And then you've got this little section in the corner, just a very small section in the corner. I don't know why, do designers think that we don't have to worry about what our boys are wearing, because that's not true at all. Although some of you are probably going to say, "Oh, just stick a pair of pants on him and a sweater, and he's happy." Girls like ribbons and frills and things like that. But the ice show, I don't want to tell you that it wasn't worth going because it was, but a little bit girly for my grandson's taste. Eventually, he said, "I thought it might be better than that." There were some spectacular parts in there, but then there was some, kissing and girly stuff and princesses being rescued, and it was never about the knight rescuing the princess. It was always about the princess being rescued, and he's 9 years old. He'll be 10 in a couple of weeks. Girly stuff. Keep going, Chris.
Rhonda says, in answering your question about what she did for Christmas, we did something a little different. We did a Mexican fiesta,
Oh,
enchilada casserole, chili rellenos, and tacos.
oh, wow. So, is anyone in your family Mexican? Is that what I want to know? What inspired you to do a Mexican uh, fiesta style Christmas? That sounds like a lot of fun. And enchiladas. If were they homemade? I once had a fabulous woman from Mexico make me enchiladas. That she used her grandmother's recipe. I stood in her kitchen. I had no idea what she was doing, and thinking as she's making it, and all this stuff going in, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure this is for me, but they were delicious. But when you buy them, they're not quite the same, are they? Homemade are the best. But anyway, thanks for sharing that. Keep going, Chris.
Dean said, I just made cornbread for my pre snow shoveling morning,
Oh,
having it with butter and maple syrup. Yum.
okay. I've had good cornbread and I've had bad cornbread. I'm not a big cornbread person, but I've had it with butter on it. Well, anything with butter on it's good, right? I mean, who doesn't like butter? And I love the way that you're doing that. Maybe you could share your recipe with me, Dean, perhaps. Yeah, but is it fattening? I'm trying to diet. Oh, yeah, all right. Send me the recipe anyway. Why don't you? Keep going.
Maggie's asking, did Gray Eagle like the break from the questions we all have?
Oh, Maggie, you think, do you think that we're on break? We have so many things we're doing, just different things, and different people, and different questions. So, um, Greg was laughing at me. I'm going to ask. Um, okay, here his answer is we never go on break. So I'm not. I think the question is moot, but I do understand what you're saying. Um, I think he misses this as much as I miss this, and we miss doing the shows and so on. But we have other things that we get on with, and other things that we do. So, you know. Anyway, not as much as you might think. Keep going, Chris.
All right. Lorraine says the holidays came and went, but they were very enjoyable, albeit the very cold Christmas weekend, but a lively time with my daughter and son-in-law and our doggies.
Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds really, really nice. We had Apache who it was his first proper Christmas. For those of you first time here, you're thinking, what are we talking about? My grandson's puppy is his name is Apache, and it was his first Christmas. Although he was born in November, it was his first real Christmas that he knew he knew things were going on. Amazingly, we thought we'd have trouble with him because especially with young dogs, when you decorate the Christmas tree, they like to pat and paw at the bottoms, and they like to investigate and do things. Amazingly, he didn't even go near the tree. It was like, who cares about that? But he was Santa Claus brought him a coat. So what else did Santa bring him? Santa brought him a coat. He brought him a nice brush. I'm telling you, we had a nice backpack so that Reese could carry him on his back in his backpack. Santa came to all of us this year. Santa brought me the most beautiful. You're going to think I'm weird when I tell you this, but it's really beautiful looking thing. It is a what is it? God, I'm just going to tell you what it was now. Oh, old timers. This is what I'm getting now. Old timers. It's It's a slicer. It'll come to me. It slices very finely. It slices truffles. Thank you. Finally got it. It slices truffles. You know, the truffles that you find in the dirt. Not chocolate truffles, everybody. The truffles you find in the dirt, and you put them on pasta, particularly good on pasta. And it's this beautiful stainless steel thing. I should really, next time I'm on, I'll show it to you. It's a very weird shape thing, but it's really beautiful. Santa brought that for me via my daughter, of course. But yeah, really, it's a really nice little thing. It sits beautifully on the table. Right. Yes, I can. I know. I can hear some of you say, "Whoa, since when can you afford truffles?" Because they are expensive. But you only need to buy a quarter ounce of truffles, which is not so bad. If you can find a place that sells them, and if you can find a place that really deals in them, there's nothing better than shaving very fine shavings of truffles on top of your pastries. It's better than truffle oil. I have to tell you, it's delish. All right, keep going, Chris.
Mark says, I was thinking, since we've missed you, how about making it a 2-hour day today?
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Just kidding. We just love you both and the benevolent gray eagle, who I'm certain is laughing at this.
Well, I think it's a good idea, but not today. Sorry, but not today. You know what I should be doing this afternoon at some point? I'll be working on my. Oh, now I'm going to bring us all down now, but it is tax time. You know what that tax is? It's all about doing your taxes and having to please the tax man. And on that goes. So I'm going to be having to do some of that this afternoon. Whoopee for me. All right, keep going, Chris. Let's not bring the show to an abrupt downer.
Lorraine wants to know, when is Reese's Carnegie Hall piano recital?
It is on the 25th. Thank you for asking. It is on the 25th of February. Um, I was going to tell you the time, and I've forgotten the time, but it's at the 25th of February, sorry. And he, for those of you who don't know, Reese uh, got first place in his area of this competition. People from all over the world, people from Germany, people from France, people from Italy, lots of people enter this competition, and so it's fairly prestigious because the one of the prizes is that you get to play if you get enough of a high score, which most people don't, obviously, but if you get enough of a high score, you're able to play at the Carnegie Hall. In they have different places where you can play, different theatres within Carnegie Hall. I'll try and excuse me. I'll try and remember, because anyone who's in New York or New York State, if you want to drive in, I will be there. You know, I'm going to be there. I'm flying in on the 22nd, and so I'll be there for Reese on the 25th, and we're very excited about it. He seems to be very excited about it too. He's at this moment in time, he's not nervous about it. He's just, because we tell him, you don't, whatever it is that happens, it happens. You don't do the best you can do in that moment. It might not be as good as it was yesterday, or you might, or it might be better the next day, whatever. But in the moment when you're doing these things, whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're baking a cake, whether you're skiing, whether you're going out into the garden, whether you're taking a walk, do the best that you can do in that moment in time and enjoy what is happening to you. So on the 25th, and if you want more details, apparently you can, because we were trying to get tickets for other people, because so many people we know want to go and see Reese, but um, Samantha called and they said, "Oh, just come to the box office, before the performance, an hour before or something, and you can just buy tickets at the box office." So we do have our tickets, um, but I'm not sure. Again, I'll find out the information. I think tickets are something like $65. I'm not sure, but I'll find out all the details for you if you like, and which of the theatres is playing in. Um, a very prestigious thing for him to be doing, and we're thrilled to bits that he was able to do this. So we're excited about that.
Barbara says, I've missed you. Last week, I had to euthanize my beloved cat. My husband named him Doofus as a joke and loved him so much. Was Don with us that day? Is he still watching over me and helping me with my sadness? Is
Of
there a
course.
message from Gray Eagle, and are you still booking consultations? I hope to set up a second one with you.
Yes, 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 and yes. Oh, I think. Okay, here's a message for you. Uh, the kitty is with me, I'm told to tell you. I wonder who that could be from. That must be your husband saying it. The kitty's with me. The kitty is safe and with me. So you may not have Doofus anymore, but I think he's safe and cuddled. He's safe and being cuddled is the message for you from there. And of course, yes, 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 your husband is still with you and watching over you. All of your loved ones are watching over you. Um, to be clear, of course, I'm still taking consultations. Do you think I'm ever going to stop doing that? um, I mean, yes. So we're still doing consultations, and if anyone there who doesn't know that I do consultations, well, I do, and all you have to do is email the office. If you email Chris, Kris, at rosemaryaltea.com, or you can just write, send the email Rosemary at rosemaryatea.com, and it'll get to me. And just if you can remember in the subject line, if you put in the subject consultation, then we'll know and we can sort of process you quicker. So yes, so if anybody wants consultation, that's what you have to do. And if you want to know more about it, more information about it, just email us. Again, I think Chris has, yeah, you've put the email up there so people know where to contact us. And yeah, so, email us and ask us for information about anything. Or you can go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com. www, I think, rosemaryaltea.com. Go to the website. All sorts of things are up there, including excuse me, and I do believe you can get tickets now, including an online event that I'm doing I think it's on the 4th of February. Um, I think it's all about healing. Everything's about healing. I think. I think.
That one's the March one, Rosemary.
Oh, it isn't
You're
all about.
so busy. How would you know which one was which?
It isn't about healing. What is this one about?
This one ends up with the bottom brick exercise as part of it, but it's called The Path of Acceptance to Freedom.
Wow, the path of acceptance to freedom. Did I choose that title? I don't
No,
know.
that was Infinity's choice.
I don't know. But anyway, I will show you your path. I will show you how to get on that path of freedom, of enlightenment, of letting go. I was talking to a beautiful young woman over the last 2 or 3 days, and who shall be nameless because obviously everything is private here. But um, she was having such a struggle with her life and so sad and so didn't know how to get out of herself. She didn't know how to lift herself up. She didn't know what to do with the next steps of her life. And she was just devastated. And a lot of her issue had to do with her family, had to do with always being made to feel less, less than she is. And family can tend to do that to us, can't it? And I think sometimes, even without realizing it, our teachers, our family, even our friends, sometimes they can make us feel less without even realizing that that's what they're doing. And trying to build up your self confidence and trying to understand that you are worth something, it can be such a hard thing to do. And people don't know where do I begin? And in let's say, I spoke to this girl for about an hour. She went home. You could see she was almost floating. The next day she came back for a little bit more, and I gave her a little bit more. She's doing like she went from I don't know where my life is going. I don't know. I think I need therapy, and I'm thinking about going to therapy too. She went from that to wow, an epiphany. Because we all have choices, don't we? We have choices as to whether we want to improve our lives or whether we want to continue in the mire, of our lives. And one of the questions that I asked her is and if you ask yourself this question, be thoughtful about it. Don't just shrug and say, or quick answer. Think about it. Really think about it. Are you the kind of person who you've been so miserable for so long it's become a habit, and you feel safe in that, you feel safe in that misery, and it makes what do I do if I don't have this anyway? You're holding on to that. Or do you want or you are you the kind of person who really really does want to get out of that, to become enlightened, to move forward? So a lot of this stuff that we're going to be dealing with in February in this event in February, we're going to talk about how do you do that? But you need to really, are you the kind of person who likes to be miserable? Because I know it doesn't seem right, does it? And you say to somebody, are you a person who likes to be miserable? Of course not. Absolutely not. This is why I'm saying don't immediately answer. Think about it, because you may well be that person who is so used to it and so used to being miserable and so used to being negative and so used to people putting you down all the time that it's a bit scary to come out of that. What do I do if I don't have that? It's like women or men who stay with their wives or husbands. They're thoroughly miserable, but better the devil you know than the devil you don't. So you stay there and you stay in that misery. And likewise, if you're a person who you have so little self-confidence and you so feel put down all the time, but at the same time it's been happening all your life and you don't know anything else, and the idea of coming out into the sunshine, well, what if the sunshine burns me? What if I don't like it? What if it blinds me a little bit? What if better the devil you know. So when I ask the question, are you the kind of person who likes to be miserable, don't immediately dismiss it. Think about it. Think carefully, because it may be that you say, yeah, I have indulged myself here a little bit because it feels safer that way. And so we'll be talking about that in this webinar, and we'll be talking about how you get out of that. And I have to report that this little girl that I've been talking to, not such a little girl, she's in her 20s, but excuse me, but she said to me yesterday, I just feel free. For the first time in my life, I just feel free. So nice, right? Anyway, so that's what we'll be talking about, and other things as well. So if you want to know more about that, website. Can't stress enough. It's only one click of a button. Go to the website and check it out and see what else is going on, please. Okay, Chris.
Janina's on from Cinnamonson, New Jersey, and says, hello, Mila is listening to your show.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm making schnitzels today for your husband. Well, I'm going to try anyway. Well, of course, I am going to do it. He gave me this meat yesterday. This is my neighbour, for those of you who don't know. Gave me this meat yesterday, and he said, I don't know what it is, but you make schnitzels with it. He's Polish, so he knows the meat. I'm sure he knows the name of it in Polish, but he couldn't tell me what it was. So I've got a piece of meat in my refrigerator, which I'm going to make schnitzels with. And uh, maybe we'll film a little bit of it. We'll wait and see. All I know is I'll be bashing the meat. So Mila, hi Mila, hi my darling. Mila is 3 years old and beautiful and precocious and so pretty. And so I walked in the other day to my neighbour's house, and all I could hear was this little girl chattering away to her grandfather, and he couldn't get a word in edgewise, and she's just going on and on and on. Such a cute little thing. When are you coming down? When are you coming back? Is what I want to know, Janina. All right, keep going, Chris.
Cheryl's asking, do souls continue their hobbies on the other side that they had here on Earth?
Well, as much as they can. They're not, if their hobby is woodworking, I don't think they're doing that anymore. But as much as they can in whatever way that they can. But there's so much more. It's like you you. I don't. It's difficult to describe unless you've done it. I remember years and years ago, uh, I had this lovely house. My daughter was born in this house. All of my friends and neighbors that were there. I'd been very sick while I lived in this house. I'd had two major surgeries when I was lived in this house. So everybody in the neighborhood knew me, and I knew them. And I started coffee mornings, and that sort of thing. And it was wonderful. And then when my daughter was a year old, my husband came home and said, "We're moving." He'd been promoted. We're moving to London. And I didn't want to go. Of course, I didn't want to go, but it was a promotion and we had to go. We had no choice. And I remember, and I loved this house and I loved my neighbors. I loved everything about this place. This was my home. And of course, it was where Samantha was born too. So I remember came moving day, and I was hanging on so tightly to the door jamb because I could just, and my husband had to prise me out of the house because I really, really did not want to go. So lots of tears, lots of, stuff going on. And anyway, but we left. And a few months later, now we're living in London. We're making a different life, a new life, and so on. And it was very hard, a very hard thing to do. But then a few months later, I went back to my neighborhood. My good friend still lived there, and she invited me to come and stay. We went to stay for a couple of days, and of course, the coffee mornings were still going. You know, you think you're indispensable, but then you find out things are still going on without you, uh, as they should, of course, as they should. And I remember sitting in this coffee morning. I was excited to go there. I thought, "Oh, we'll see everybody," and I'm listening and listening to them talking, and it's the same thing that we were talking about a year ago and 2 years ago. And I suddenly realized that as much as I love this place and as much as I love these people, I did not belong here anymore because life had changed for me and I was experiencing new things and I was doing new things. I was still knitting, I was still doing, cooking, I was still doing those sorts of hobbies. You're talking about hobbies here, but life changes, and I think unless you've experienced it, you perhaps are not able to glimpse what it might be like to be in a new place, a different place, and have all of a sudden, on this earth, we're so limited as to what we can do and where we can explore, compared to the spirit world, and compared to the universe and the many universes that are out there. It's a big change, but it's exciting, and there are new things and there are new people, and you realize that you don't necessarily belong in the same place. You don't necessarily belong in the same place emotionally either. So it's a whole new world. Okay, Chris, keep going.
The initials VM said, I just read your first book and was wondering whatever happened to the psychic Michaelides from Spitali, Cyprus. Are you still in touch with him?
John Michaelides, he has since. Thank you for asking that question. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful, wonderful guy. Maybe my story on Saturday, I'll talk to people more about that because my experience with him was, oh, amazing. It was fabulous. And And of course, there's more to the story than we tell in the book, because he went on to be a very fine, well, he was already a very fine healer, but he went on to become known in his own country. And people would literally come to him from far and wide. And he has passed. Um, I'm asking Greg, what happened to him? And then I can hear, they must have known you were going to ask this question, because I can hear and keep catching very brief glimpses of this very handsome Greek guy who's standing just behind Grey Eagle here. So now you know what happened to him. So I think that he is continuing his work and continuing doing what he's doing. But maybe, just maybe, on Saturday morning, I'll tell the story of John Michaelides and give you some little insights about that. Yes, I hope you're enjoying the book, by the way.
Annalise asking, did you have a good holiday with your grandson and daughter?
Fabulous. I did. You know, you're sick, you're coughing up, you're sort of all the rest of it, you're doing all that stuff, but at the same time, I'm a doer and I don't let things get me down. I really, I'm sensible. I rest when I can. I think I was, sort of would take naps occasionally, but oh, my grandson is just, he brings light into my life like you would not believe. But I will tell you a little story, okay? Here's this little story. So, uh, I was sitting in the living room, and and Apache, the puppy, came up, and sort of I was stroking Apache and cuddling Apache, and all of a sudden, Reese comes barreling in, throws himself on me, wraps his arms around me, and looks at the puppy, who he loves and worships and adores. Let me tell you, they're best friends. And he says, he says to Apache, "She's mine. She's mine," meaning me. So it has become a joke, because when he is cuddling Apache, sometimes I'll go up to him, I'll wrap my arms around him, and I'll say to Apache, "He's mine. He's mine." We're just having fun with that. But it just, they bring such joy to you and such light to you. But uh, we all know now that Reese is number one in my life. Of course, he is. Samantha knows the score and is very happy about it. She doesn't get jealous or anything like that. She just, oh yeah, what am I now? Chopped liver. But I'm joyful and and ever grateful to her for giving me this blessed gift of my grandson. Okay, keep going.
All right, this was from Starlatech.
Okay.
Rosemary, do you see any change for February for an upcoming court case? It's a very serious, potentially life altering situation.
I don't. Um, I'm going to suggest that maybe you might want to consider finding a good medium and having a consultation with them. You've got to be very careful though, because it's got to be somebody who's really good at what they do. Um, I am not. I'm very nervous about these situations, because when I give consultations to people, we go in depth, and I'm able to listen to people's families, and I'm able to listen to Gregor, and I'm given the situation, I'm given the circumstance, and then from that we're given advice, help, and advice. Um, I very rarely will do anything like this, um, sort of off the cuff, because anything I say to you could, if it changes your attitude or makes a difference in your life in any way, it could, in fact, it would be probably irresponsible of me to do that, because then I might say something that, and you it might which might just change the way you deal with things. I do think, though, I do agree with you that it the outcome uh, could be life altering, and I do agree with you. I think you do have to be very, very careful with this situation. My advice to you is to really, really good lawyer makes sure that everybody knows what they're doing and what they're up against. And what you're up against, it seems to be an uphill battle to me, what you're up against. So my advice is to get a good lawyer, make sure your lawyer is on top of things and listen to what they say to you, try to work together with your lawyer. Or, I mean, if you lived closer, I'd say come on over and we'll see what we can do. But I would say find, if you can find a good medium and get a have a consult and see if you can get some sort of advice that way. But just be careful who you listen to. Just be careful. It's a tricky situation all around. Um, yeah, that's all I can say about it. But we will be sending prayers. Just be cautious, Chris.
All right. Barbara says, thank you for what you told her already. Does Dawn know I am planning to sell this house? We were here for over 30 years, so I feel frightened, alone, and overwhelmed. Any advice to help me?
Well, I just told you the story, right? About, certainly when I hung on to the door, to the door jamb of my house when I moved, I was frightened. I was alone. Even though I had a husband, I was very much alone because he was certainly not thinking about me and not thinking about the family. He was, and in a way, he was right, really, because he had this promotion, and it would have been really foolish to turn down the promotion. But the way he did it was not, perhaps not as nice as it could have been about it. And it's I think the fear of change is so awful, so terrible. Um, but once we're in it, once we're doing it, once we're moving, once we're getting going with it, I think you'll find, my darling, that it's the best thing in the end because um, letting go is so hard. Letting go of what you have here, letting go of what you've known all this time. But try if you can, my advice is to try if you can to think of the future and think of the things that you can achieve because your husband is keeps peeking in here. Apparently the house is a bit of a burden because I think it's either too big or too whatever it is, but it's a heavy burden. And you need to be free of that. And I think that once you're free of that, and once you have let go of that, you can start to move towards the future, and it will be good. And you're asking, does he know? Of course he knows. What are you talking about? You know that, Chris. Keep going.
Rhonda had mentioned about the truffles,
Oh yes.
that she actually likes all mushrooms. She wonders, have you ever had a puffball mushroom?
Oh, so funny that you should say that. I was where did I must have been watching a show. We were investigating mushrooms because I love mushrooms of any kind. Um, and I, and I think I must have been watching a show about mushrooms or something, and I'm told they're the most delicious and the most fabulous. But no, I've never had a puffball mushroom. I wouldn't know where to begin to get one. I suppose I have to go to the mushroom shop, don't I? But I'm told that they are of really fabulous flavour. If you can help me to find out where I get them from, and what do I do with them? Do I cook them as I might cook another mushroom in butter and a little garlic and maybe a splash of cream at the end? See, my mouth is watering already. Look what you did to me. All right, Chris.
Maggie says 2 nights ago, just as I was going to sleep, I heard Native American ceremonial drums and bits
Oh,
of singing. Do
oh,
you know what
nice.
that was?
Oh, well, somebody's obviously connecting in with you. Do you need encouragement, or have you done something fabulous and that they're joyful about, or what's going on, Maggie? I like this. Don't question it, just accept it. It's fabulous. Good for you. Nice, nice. I haven't heard anything like that in a while. Why haven't I? I've got Craig tapping me on the shoulder. This show is not about me, it's about all of you. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going. I'm jealous,
Eric
Maggie.
Eric says he's at the loan office now to begin the application process to find a new place to live.
Good. Yay. Well, that's a positive step forward. Really a positive step forward. Good, good for you. We haven't chatted in ages. I hope you're doing okay. I know you're doing okay. I'm very proud of you, Eric. Very proud of you. What is it? What kind of a gardener are you? You're the gardener extraordinaire. And if anybody wants to go and find Eric, you can find him. Gardener, type into Google gardener extraordinaire, and Eric should come up. And he has some great tips and great knowledge about gardening. So anyway, see, I've given you a little thing there, Eric. Did you like that? Given you a little what is that? You know. Anyway, keep going, Chris.
Barbara says, "Thank you to Gray Eagle. To you and Gray Eagle. Your messages are such a comfort, and I love you all."
Well,
But
thank
you're right
you.
at time, Rosemary.
Well, I was just going to say thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming on. Uh, excuse me, so sorry. Thank you all for coming on, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, we will be back on Saturday morning with our story time, and maybe I'll talk about John Nicolaides, was the most extraordinary man, and we had the most extraordinary experience. And if you haven't read about the experience in my book, well, I'll tell you all about it on Saturday morning. Really, extraordinary things do happen, don't they? They seem to happen to me a lot, so I feel very fortunate in that. But I know that we all experience extraordinary things sometimes. Remember, you are not normal. Don't want to be normal. Never ever want to be normal. Always want to be extraordinary because you are, and I am. We are extraordinary together. Thank you for watching. I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining us for our first show in the new year. I'd like to say thanks to Chris for her facilitating. Of course, we cannot do this show without Grey Eagle, and so I just want to say how much I appreciate him. We're looking forward to another year of working together and connecting and communicating together. If you want to know more about what we do, please go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com. And you can find out all about us. You can see our bottom brick exercises. You can do all of that stuff on our website. So hot foot to it, everybody. Just because I'm saying goodbye doesn't mean that you need to see the end of me today. Uh, I look forward to see you all again, hopefully on Saturday. Until I see you all again, whether it's Saturday, whether it's another time, please, everybody, have a very blessed rest of the day. Have a very blessed weekend, everybody. Have a very blessed day. Just go for it and just really have a wonderful day. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.